Welcome to Monster Territory, ladies and gentlemen. We have an emergency stream here. The Red Sox made a big trade with the Pittsburgh Pirates, but no, it was not Paul Skeens. We got something else on the table. Something, when I first saw the trade, I'm thinking to myself, what is this? What is going on here? Why are we doing this trade? But the more I let it marinate, the more I let it sink in, the more I kind of, see what Craig Breslow likes to do here. He's going after a guy in Johan Oviedo, a guy that's got some good upside. That's something that Craig Breslow has targeted before. But where I'm a little confused is that it took Yostinson Garcia the password to acquire. Now, when it comes to the values of the players that were involved in this trade, it is pretty even. We'll go break that down over on baseballtradevalues.com. And a pretty even trade, honestly. But it's just interesting. It makes me think, okay, could there be possibly something else lined up? Because we'll talk about Johan Oviedo, a guy that I was pretty high on not too long ago when the Pirates were, starting to, get some of these prospects up to the major league level a few years ago. That was a guy that was in their system, and they had acquired in a separate trade. And I thought, wow, that's a really solid guy for the Pirates to get. But then he ran into some injuries. He had to get Tommy John. He came back this year. He had a lat injury as well. And he did look pretty solid coming back from injury. We'll go over the numbers and everything. We'll take a look-see. But it's just interesting because, I think back to the Craig Breslow comments going into the offseason saying that he wants to add guys to the top of the rotation. He wants to add needle-moving guys. Well, does he consider Johan Oviedo a needle-moving kind of a guy? That's not the picture that I envisioned when he was talking about that. I'm thinking about guys, on the free agent market like Dylan Cease, or on the trade market like Joe Ryan, Hunter Green, guys like that. So is this the definition of a needle-moving kind of a guy? Right now, because of the injuries that Oviedo has had that have held him back over the last couple of years, I think it's safe to say that he is more of, at least right now, a depth guy. He's going to be lower on the depth chart, but someone that does have upside. I do find him interesting. It's just interesting. Again, I'm going to keep using that word a lot. That's the one word that keeps rolling through my head. I just wonder, could there be something else set up? And I get back to the password here. I thought to myself, that could have been a guy where, you look at how many outfielders the Red Sox have at the major league level. You're already looking to trade one of those guys, right? Jarren Duran, maybe Willie or Abreu. So you're thinking of the password, and you're like, wow, if they're looking to move Duran or Willier, then, what's going to happen here with the password? I'm not surprised he got moved. That was a guy that I thought could be included in a package. And good for the Pirates. They get themselves a bat with some upside. That's what the Pirates need. I like this trade for the Pirates. I think I like it for the Red Sox, but I think I was expecting more, and I'm trying to be as fair as possible. I'm not trying to sound greedy. I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining. But I don't know. I was kind of just expecting a little bit more if you were going to use Yostinson Garcia, a guy that did show some good things this past year. Got the call up late season. A guy with some power upside, and a guy that he was turning into a fan favorite because of the nickname, right? I'll use it one more time. It's an interesting trade. Everybody, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight. This is a unexpected stream. Lately, we've been going Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It is Thursday, right? It is Thursday. I'm just making sure my potato brain doesn't work sometimes. But here we are. We're going to be talking about this one. Let's go break this down, shall we? If you can, just do me one favor. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you are just finding us for the first time, we're trying to get Monster Territory to 6K by opening day. If you can help us get there, I'll love you forever. Let's get to it here. Let's break this down. Let's get right to the trade. Here we go. I pretty much already said it. But the Red Sox, Pirates, making a swap. Well, not just a one-for-one swap. There's more players involved here. Johan Oviedo going to the Red Sox along with Tyler Samaniego? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the first time I'm seeing his name. I apologize to Tyler. We're going to call him Tyler, not Tyler Milliken. Tyler Samaniego. I keep seeing San Diego in that. I apologize for that. You got Adonis Guzman in here as well. We'll talk about them. And then back also to the Pirates along with the password, they get Jesus Travieso. He was a lower level prospect. So let's break this down. Let's look at the trade first. Taking a look-see. And you know what? I'm just going to pull it up here. It was already posted by Mr. John Bitzer of BaseballTradeValues.com. So as you can see, value-wise, this is pretty even. It does line up pretty close. To me, the password, I think you could say he has a little bit more value because he is a higher graded prospect. So I would value him a little bit higher. But then you look at Oviedo, and that's a guy, he has upside. He's got some upside. Let's talk about him. Now, a small sample this past year, but you see some advanced metrics here where you got a good amount of reds and a good amount of extension with Oviedo here. 98th percentile. Again, a small sample, but 7.4 inches of extension. That is not bad whatsoever. Again, ranked very high there. He's going to have some good velo. He's going to be averaging right around 95, 96. He can get it up close to 100 as well. This year, again, it is a small sample, but he did limit the exit velo pretty well this year. Got a lot of swing and miss, decent amount of strikeouts. He needs to work on the walk rate a little bit. That walk rate was a little low, 13.5% this past year, but he does a great job at getting swing and miss. He limits the hard contact, and he's going to be just hard to pick up because of the extension. So there is definitely some upside here. And again, this was a sample coming off of Tommy John as well as a lat injury while he was working his way back. He had that back in spring training, so that did delay his return to the major leagues. Now, taking a look at the overall numbers this past year, and, because he is coming back from Tommy John, it's normal to see, maybe some numbers that don't look all that great. ERA still looked okay. Over 9 starts, 40 in the third innings, 3.57. The FIP was at a 4.92. Again, you can't really weigh that FIP very heavily at this moment because, that's a guy coming back from a big injury like that, big surgery, missed a lot of time, had the lat injury. So he's still working out some things. 9.3 strikeouts per 9 and 5 walks per 9 this past year. In the past, if you take a look at just the major league numbers, back in 2023, that was the most he had pitched. 32 starts, 177 and 2/3 innings. He had over 4 walks per 9. So that is something that has dogged him a little bit in his career. And then when you combine the high home run rate this past year, 1.3 per 9, with the high walk rate, that is going to contribute to the higher FIP. But again, sorry to say it again, it's a very small sample. So just some things he's working on. I'm excited to see what he can do over a full, a normal spring training after a normal offseason. There is upside here. And if you go take a look at his from his numbers down in the minors of this year, I mean, listen, there's stuff here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, there is stuff to like, right? I think you could say, I don't want to call him a project, but he has that feel a little bit because you don't fully know kind of what to expect because the stuff is there, but you're just waiting for the results, right? At the end, right now, you just don't know what he can be. He has obviously had a lot of major league experience, but that was about a few years ago now. So, but as you can see here, down in AAA this year, numbers were looking very good, right? I mean, of course, a guy like him, he's going to be racking up strikeouts down to the minor leagues. But, when you're taking a look at the whiff percentage, 94th percentile, getting a lot of swing and miss in zone, there's stuff to like here. The question is, was it worth the password? when it came to the password, there were a couple of things. We can actually go pull them up here. Let's pull up. My computer is running rather slow. Now, with password, good power potential. I mean, as you can see here, good exit velo. But he was chasing out of the zone quite a bit this year. There was a lot of swing and miss in his game. He wasn't really walking a whole lot. He wasn't making a lot of contact in the zone. So that tells me the Red Sox, they weren't fully sold on him. He did put up good numbers this past year. He hit 271, had 18 homers. But when you take a look, 102 strikeouts compared to 27 walks, that's not fully going to get it done. We were excited about the power potential with him. And I think for the Pirates at this point, I think he's better for the Pirates moving forward because they need as much upside as they can get offensively. I think he's a better fit there. So, sure, I would have loved for, this guy to have a long career with the Red Sox as any prospect in the Red Sox system. But they already have so many guys in the outfield mix already. He was expendable, in my opinion. But getting back to the main point, was this the trade to do it? Would we have rather had, there's been all the debate about Sonny Gray. I've said it many times. I think he is a 8 or 9 out of 10 as a number 3. I think you'd say like a 5, a 6, or maybe even a 7 as a number 2. So if the Red Sox were to go after another guy out there, say Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, Hunter Green, Mackenzie Gore, whoever, could you have used someone like Garcia in a package like that? That was what I was envisioning with him to be a part of a bigger trade. That's kind of where I'm at. So I'll reiterate. I like Oviedo. I do. There is upside with him. It's just a matter of him putting it all together. However, I think that's a guy that I can see the Red Sox organization being very excited to work with because that's what the Red Sox want. They like good velo guys. They like guys that get a lot of swing and miss. They do like guys, though, that can throw a lot of strikes. So that is something they're going to have to improve on. Maybe they can tweak something mechanically there. Maybe lower that down a little bit after some struggles this past year with the command. But again, there's upside. Is he the needle mover, though? That is the question I'm asking. I'm not trying to dump on the potential. It's just a matter, because we all saw what Greg Breslow said. He's looking for needle-moving pitching. Is he the needle mover? Well, I don't know. Is that kind of what we were expecting at this point? Also, I'm going to throw this little bit of a wrench in there. The Red Sox got a lot of arms right now. I mean, yeah, they traded away Brandon Clark, but he was very far away. You got a lot of major league caliber arms at this point. I mean, let's just go through them. Crochet, Gray, Brian Bayo, Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, Cutter Crawford, Patrick Sandoval, Kyle Harrison, Oviedo. I mean, you got a lot of guys. So, is there something else on the table? Are the Red Sox setting something up here where maybe they're, looking to go get some guys that I think all of us consider to be needle movers? That's what I'm wondering here. I'm interested in that. Because you got a lot of arms. I mean, where are you going to did I miss anyone off that list? Am I missing anyone? I think I named all of the major league guys. I think there's something else. That's kind of that's the feeling that I'm getting right now. How many is that? Crochet, Gray, Bayo, Crawford, Sandoval, Tolley, Early, Harrison, and now Oviedo. That's 9 guys that are in the mix. Sure, Tolley and Early, they could get more work down at AAA. I mean, of course, there's obviously a huge argument to put at least one of them in the major league rotation. I'm not saying they need to have work at AAA, but you could do that if you needed to create some space. You got 9 guys in the fold right now. You got a starting pitcher 9 now. So there's a lot of depth. So I'm thinking here, is someone going to get moved? Is there something else that's on the table here? Do the Red Sox have something bigger planned? Do they bring in a guy like Oviedo who has more upside, and they maybe look at one of these other guys? Cutter Crawford, Patrick Sandoval, they're coming back from injuries, so I wonder how much trade potential they have. Connolly Early, Peyton Tolley, 2 fantastic pitching prospects. We've seen before where, you go back to the trade deadline, a guy like Connolly Early, was possibly popping up to acquire someone like Merrill Kelly. I don't know. Could you possibly revisit talks like that? And then, if someone, if the Red Sox are looking to add another bat for the lineup, if they only want to sign one of these free agents, Bregman, Schwarber, Alonso, whatever it may be, could someone like Ketel Marte be had, where you could include, they had interest in Early before, maybe you could do something there. I don't know. I'm just throwing out, I'm just spitballing right now. Don't take it at face value. I don't know, and there's even been, I brought this up. I posted this on Twitter not too long ago. I did a bit of a sort of a hot take. When my account was hacked, I was using the Monster Territory account, and I put a hot take after they acquired Sonny Gray. We already had a lot of depth with Gray in the fold, and now you got Oviedo. So I put a hot take out there. Could you even move someone like Brian Bayo? I know that's gonna hurt some feelings out there, and I apologize about that. But I wonder, could you move someone like Bayo, a guy that is established in the major leagues now? Could you package him with one of these outfielders? And I don't know, like, it's kind of where my head's at right now. I feel like this is setting up something. Cole Reagans as well. Thank you, Paul. Cole Reagans, could that be an idea? If you're the Royals, and I'd be stunned if they traded Cole Reagans. I think that would be absolutely bananas. Bananas, bananas. But they like Duran over there. He's a perfect fit in Kaufman. He'd be the Andrew Benintendi 2.0 plus. Cole Reagans for Jaron Duran, Brian Bayo, or one of these other guys that have high upside, like a Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early. You kind of wonder. I think something else is on the table. That's just my thinking. I feel like they're setting up for something. At least I'm hoping that is the case. I mean, I feel like you have to, right? You kind of have to. You can't have this many guys. That's too many guys. You had too many. You had just about too many with Gray. Now you got 9. So that's where my thinking is. Could that be wishful thinking? Maybe, but I'm trying to be as logical as possible. I feel like something else has to be coming up. I wonder, I'm speculating. I wonder if there's multiple possibilities out there. And I also go back to what Sam Kennedy said. Go back to when, Sam Kennedy came on the show not too long ago. I said, what is something that you could see happening this offseason? He talked about trades. That he said, if you go back over the last, several years, you haven't seen as many trades as you have in the past. So he was wondering if that's something you could see more of this coming off season. With the amount of players the Red Sox have, it feels like there could be a lot of possibilities on the table, and they're trying to stock up right now. And they're getting themselves ready to make another move. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what that could be. That could be multiple possibilities. I'm not sure. But that's what I'm thinking. Now, taking a look at the other parts of the trade. I need to know how to pronounce this. Tyler Samaniego. I'm going to say Samaniego. Someone, if you know the pronunciation, I didn't have time to look it up. I'm sorry. But let me know. But here's a guy that could be an interesting bullpen piece down the road. Decent fastball from the left side, has a slider as well, and throws a lot of strikes. Take a look at the numbers of this past year. In the minor leagues, between High A, and Double A, 38 and a third innings, 10.3 strikeouts per nine, 2.5 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, 3.99 ERA, FIP at a nice and healthy 3.08. Could this be a guy where he is a reliever that could, you could end up seeing in Boston at some point over the next couple of years? Thank you. I got the right pronunciation. Perfect. That's not. I'm usually terrible with pronunciations. I can't believe I got that one right. But a guy that is getting a bit up there in age for a minor leaguer, but could this be one of those guys where he's a late bloomer and he ends up being a big contributor, for the bullpen at some point? And it's funny because I've talked about how I think the Red Sox need to add more left-handed relief pitching, and I don't think this is the guy, but he's someone nice to have in the minor leagues, right? I mean, just simply going off the grades. Good velo, good slider. Has a third pitch, changeup as well, and he throws a lot of strikes. So that's someone that's interesting. And then taking a look here, going back to the trip. What in the heck is playing on my computer right now? Goodness gracious. So, and then you also got Adonis Guzman. So taking a look at him. So from what I can gather, as of right now, looks to be more of a guy, an infielder. Or no, sorry, my goodness, I'm not a catcher. Sorry, who could another catcher for the Red Sox organization? They're adding catching left and right. How many more catchers are they going to add to this organization? Well, they did need to do that. They were definitely getting a little low in that department. But a guy that has some upside defensively, Fangraphs gives him a 55 future grade. Has a little bit of pop. Has a 50 grade on the raw power. But there's really I'm not... Hold on. Okay, here are the numbers. So, was in college not too long ago. Where was he drafted? He was a 5th-round pick. 8th overall. That's not bad. I think Mookie was a 5th-round pick, if I'm remembering that correctly. But at Arizona last year, hit .328 with a .411 on base, .496 on the slugging, 9 homers, 44 RBIs. Struck out only a little bit more than he walked. So a guy that shows, at least according to these numbers in college, shows a good eye at the plate. That's something the Red Sox do value. So maybe they feel like they can build upon what he's already got. Maybe add a little bit more power. Maybe add a little bit more to the canvas there. The Red Sox, listen, they've done a good job at developing position players. Right? That's one thing. If you look at a reputation they've always had going back how many years now, they develop position players very well. So this feels like a guy that you can put in your system who was just drafted not too long ago. I mean, that's very nice. So kind of wonder if this could be a guy that a few years down the road, could he end up being a guy where you're like, man, we got Adonis Guzman in this trade? What a steal. Again, that's obviously a big question mark, but there is some potential there. And again, 5th-round pick. Overall, it's an interesting trade. It's an interesting one. It was a bit of a head-scratcher when I first saw it. My first tweet when I saw the trade was, "Excuse me, what?" I didn't really know how to process it. But now that I've let it marinate and I've thought about it, there's upside there. But I think something else is coming. That's the gut feeling that I get. I feel like there's another move to be made because you just have too many guys on the pitching side of things. We got a super chat. Bay Sox Bombs 23, $1.99. I'm confused on what this trade is for. I think it's really just the Red Sox adding as much upside as possible. You get a catching prospect that has a little something there. You get a left-handed reliever and Samaniego. I love saying that name if that is indeed the way to say it. That's a guy where he could be a contributor out of the bullpen at some point. It's not the sexy name that we're looking for, right? When I first saw the trade, I'm going to be honest with you. I saw Pirates. I saw Red Sox. Because it came up as a notification on my phone. And I'm like, did we just acquire Mitch Keller? That was my first reaction to that. There's no way you're getting Paul Skeens, but I'll be honest. That man did pop up in my brain a little bit. I knew we weren't getting, obviously, no one's getting Paul Skeens. But it's not the sexy trade that we're all waiting for, right? We're all still hanging on to possibly acquiring Ryan, one of these pitchers out there on the trade market that could be available. But Craig has shown the ability to where he can find value and he can find talent that is not exactly guys that you're thinking of as of right now. Guys that are the names that are going to draw that traction on Twitter. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. There's upside here. There is potential there. But I do think it sets up for more. The Mexican Superman won $2. Didn't we have too many pictures last year? I mean, yeah. We already had too many pictures after Sonny Gray. I mean, you were borderline like, okay, like that's enough pitching, which is crazy to say because we didn't have like any pitching go back, 4 or 5 years ago, right? 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Felt like we had no one. So, CH man, low risk, high reward. I mean, that is the way to say it, but I don't think this is really the move that is going to be one of the big moves for the Red Sox this offseason. I think it's helping set up for more. That's where I'm at. Nick, it's actually a decent trade for what the Red Sox traded. Oviedo as upside. Yeah, you got to look at it that way. There's going to be a lot of people out there. They're going to be like, what the heck is this? What are we doing? Come on. Like, where's Joe Ryan? Where's Freddie Peralta? You're going to have a lot of that out there. But there is something there. There is potential. I know, but I also understand your frustration as well. If you are frustrated with this trade, you want a proven commodity right now. We want to win right now. You don't want a project. You don't want potential. You want now. I understand that. I do understand that. But there is definitely room for more. And there are going to be many more opportunities. It's not even the winter meetings yet. We're still a few days away. That's another thing. I forgot to point that out. I also find the timing of this interesting. You got the winter meetings here in 3 days? The fact that you now have a stockpile of talent going into the winter meetings in Orlando, Florida, which I will be attending, by the way. We might be doing live shows from the winter meetings. Stay tuned. But you have a stockpile of talent, of ammo, trade assets ready to go going into the winter meetings. I think the timing of that is very interesting. Cotillo, what do we got? What is Cotillo saying? What is he telling us? Has he got something good? Has he got something juicy? We are going to be wrapping things up here in a minute. What do we got here? Oh, I didn't see this one. I forgot about Cooper Criswell. They're designating him for assignment. I did not see that one. Cooper Criswell, I wish you luck, my friend. But he says this. Cubs director of pitching, Ryan Otero, is leaving the organization to join the Red Sox as a special assistant. All right, front office news. All right, we got something there. But everybody, I am going to wrap it up right there. That's my reaction to this trade. I don't want to let this run too long because I want the replay viewers to not have to look at the time of the stream and be like, okay, I'm not watching all that. So I want to keep it pretty short and tidy as much as possible. I'm going to wrap it up right there, but we'll be back tomorrow night for I'm going to do a bit of a winter meetings preview. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be live tomorrow night. But everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you can, on the way out for me, all I ask, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow.